You are Locked On Syracuse, your daily podcast on the Syracuse Orange. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yay or nay? Do we want Kaidon Salter in the transfer portal, the dual threat Liberty quarterback, or should Syracuse look elsewhere? Now is where I give you my final thoughts on this. I'm a yay for this move. And the more I think about him, the more I watch his highlights, the more I study it, the more convinced that I think this guy could be really good. I'll be very happy if they can get Kaidon Salter in the transfer portal. I don't think it'll be easy, but if they can get him, it'd be great. But again, it does have that condition from the last segment that the Orange don't try to fit a square peg in a round hole. They have to build the system around him. That's the condition. I was a little hesitant with Kaidon Salter at first. I'm not going to lie. When I saw that Syracuse was connected to him, I was a little hesitant. I didn't know. I saw the regression. 2023 to 2024 are two completely different quarterbacks. One quarterback looks like if he was playing on a Power 4 team would be in the Heisman conversation. The other quarterback looks like just he's okay. He's fine. Really? But when you look at the big picture, it makes a lot of sense. It's a program like Liberty. They lose their number one wide receiver in CJ Daniels in the transfer portal to LSU, if I might add. It's not like they're going to get a crazy transfer or a crazy high school recruit to replace him. And they didn't. So I understand that there was regression with Kaidon Salter because of that. I'm willing to make a bet that that is why he regressed, and less so because he forgot how to play football, which, by the way, this past season, he wasn't all that terrible. He just wasn't as good as in 2023. Also, I teased this in the very beginning of the show in the first segment, but Syracuse doesn't have Jackson Meeks coming back. He's out of eligibility. He was one of the leading receivers for the Orange this past season. And CJ Daniels is planning to enter the transfer portal. I think it would be a good idea to pair the two together. They had success at Liberty. Obviously, the ACC is a little bit different than Conference USA, but there's familiarity there. He knows him. So I could see the two being a package deal. I'm not going to guarantee it, but I can see the two being a package deal, and it would make sense that you pair the two together. When I look at his floor-ceiling combination, I think this is ultimately why I'm a yay for the move. Let's say the floor happens. Okay? Worst case. He's basically former Boston College quarterback, now in the transfer portal, Thomas Castellanos. I don't like Thomas Castellanos. I wouldn't touch him with a 10-foot pole. I am definitely a nay on Thomas Castellanos. I don't like him at all because he can't really throw. He's just not very good, in my opinion. I've had plenty of words to say about him. I don't think he's very good. But here's the deal. If you get Kaidon Salter, having said that, and that's the floor, is Thomas Castellanos, okay, that's a pretty good floor. Because if you get him, you're probably a bowl team with him. Probably. Not guaranteed, but probably. Because Thomas Castellanos can get you to a bowl. He just can't really do much more than that. He cannot really elevate your team. But he can get you to a bowl. Same with Kaidon Salter, if we're talking about a floor here. The absolute worst case scenario, provided he's healthy for a whole season. He's Thomas Castellanos. Not very accurate. He can run for a good amount of yards, make plays with his legs, and hopefully just not turn the ball over a ton. And you're hopefully 6-6. The reason why I don't want Thomas Castellanos is because there's no ceiling. There's no ceiling with him. But with a guy like Kaidon Salter, there is. There is a ceiling with him. Which is that if he's closer to what he was in 2023, where he was almost 3,000 yards, 44 combined touchdowns, passing and rushing. You're looking at a player who I don't know if will be in the Heisman Trophy conversation, but could be on the level of where Kyle McCord is, even though they're two completely different quarterbacks. But what I mean is the level of where Kyle McCord is and where we think of him in college football. And he could lead the Orange to another big year. He could, if he is the player that he was in 2023. So I see a floor of Thomas Castellanos, which isn't great, but you can do a whole lot worse for a floor, and a ceiling of someone who could elevate Syracuse once again to a 9-win season, which is what they just had. So that's Kaidon Salter from Liberty. Overall, I'm a yay for the move. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments section below. Taking everything into account, the fact that you're going to have to change your offensive scheme, the fact that you're banking on him returning to the player he was in 2023, the fact that it might be a package deal with a guy like CJ Daniels in the transfer portal once again, leaving LSU. He was the top receiver for Liberty in 2023. Taking everything into account, yay or nay? Do you want Kaidon Salter, or do you want to see what else is out there? I'm a yay for Kaidon Salter. If they got him tomorrow, I am okay with it. I am good with the move.